as an artist, you can't help but define yourself
from
your work and your craft and your art, because it's what you love to do and what you work so hard to do. That when the universe isn't giving it to you, you kind of just like.
And I think also like psychologically, as women, we're like, we don't put our validation on men. We don't put our validation in men. So as we get older, we try to move our validation from men, but we don't realize that it kind of transfers into work and hyper independence. Hi everyone, and welcome to LATV Latina exclusive. My name is Janino Yarzo, Latina TV host and all-around creative woman who has worn many hats throughout life. On this episode, I'm excited to be sitting here with Colombian Venezuelan actress Cinthya Carmona. She is best known for her role as Brandy on the Hulu series East Los High, and most recently Solana on Netflix Pretty Smart. I can't wait for you guys to get to know more of her because I already know her. So Cinthya, thank you so much for coming and being here.
Hello, Janina. I'm so excited to be here.
We literally know each other from lifetimes ago.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. It's been
Bible studies where we met.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
I want to say that was like 2013.
That's crazy.
2013, 2014.
I would say, wow. That's a really long time.
Yeah.
I was a different person back then, I feel.
You're an amazing person now,
yes,
and you were an amazing person then.
Same, but isn't that crazy how like we just grow and we evolve, and it just feels like so many lifetimes ago, and
I know.
How we've changed and grown and gone through so many different phases in life. But I'm really glad to be here now with you. You look amazing.
Thank you. So do you. So we start off the show with 2 roses and a thorn.
Okay.
So what would you say, whether it's this past week, today, the past month, are 2 roses and a thorn of yours?
2 roses, like 2 positive things and like 1 not so good thing. Okay, so we'll start with a thorn.
Okay.
Only because it's the most, I guess, the standout one. I lost my phone at Coachella this past weekend.
Did you find it?
I didn't. And it was a phone that I've had with me since like 2013 that I refused to give away, that I refused to change. It had all my memories and all these things, and I just didn't want to let it go. And my family back home in Colombia, I was just there for a few months, and they were like, you need to get rid of it. You need to get rid of these memories, everything. I lost it during the Kid Leroy's set at Coachella. So that was a little bit of a thorn because it logged me out of a couple of things. It was a little annoying, but I'm going to switch it up on you because it was actually a rose.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that as a rose as well. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a rose because in the moment, sometimes things are meant to leave you. I think that's like a big theme in my life right now. It's whatever has to go is meant to go, and I needed to get rid of that. I needed to get rid of some of those memories, things that were holding me back, and so that ended up being a really positive experience. Also, were you at Coachella this year? Yeah, right? Yeah. So something really beautiful about disconnecting to connect, right? Like Coachella is such a great place to just go and find new artists and enjoy yourself and get lost in the music. And I would say an overall other rose was just Coachella in general, finding so many great artists that I maybe knew of their music, didn't really know who they were. Kate Tronada's set at Coachella this year was definitely a rose for me. I'm big on music. Yeah. So are you, I feel. We've talked about this. Music. So yeah.
Okay, so for those that don't know you.
Yeah.
Venezuelan-Colombian actress.
Yeah.
The Hulu series, the Netflix show. Where did it all start, your passion for acting?
Well, before I started acting, I was actually a dancer. So I danced, growing up in Miami, which we share in common. I love that about us, by the way. I'm such a proud Miami girl. I grew up as a dancer, performing. I wasn't really allowed to do it. My parents, my family, they're Jehovah's Witnesses, and like the arts and all of these things kind of weren't allowed, more or less. But it's something that as a kid I just had naturally, and I would put on little shows in my garage and my neighborhood with friends, do little plays. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just knew that I loved to perform. Yeah. And so I danced. I taught dance for a while in Miami at a studio that I grew up in, and I always felt like I really connected to the music more than just on a physical level. It was like a really emotional level, and I didn't understand why until someone in my family was like, yeah, because you're an actor. Like, you're an actress. We've known this about you your whole life. And I'm like, what, me, an actress? No way. This was like, I was like 15 years old. Took my first acting class in Miami at 17, and I was so green. I had no idea what I was doing. No idea. They had me memorize this monologue, I remember. And something just clicked inside of me that it felt real. It felt like home. It felt honest. And I'm always kind of seeking authenticity and truth from a very young age. I'm like this weird old lady trapped in a young girl's body.
Have you ever gone through a phase or a time period in your life where you haven't been booking?
Oh, yeah.
And how do you deal with that?
Yeah, of course. Well, it's a really good question. I love that. In, I believe it was 2016, 2017, like, life will humble you so quick, especially in this business. I was on 2 shows at the same time. I was on Hulu's East Los High. It was my first series. And then simultaneously, I was on this series that I did for like 4 seasons on Netflix.
I actually watched that show.
You did?
Yeah, that it was like a school thing as well.
Yeah, the Greenhouse Academy. Yeah.
I actually liked it.
Thank you. You know, we've got some really, really great fans. I get messages every day. People really love the show. They are still petitioning to get it back on, you know, and it was such a great experience for me. Yeah. But I was on 2 shows at the same time, so imagine, you're this young actress, you're starting out, you're on 2 shows at the same time, you really feel like nothing can affect you, right?
Yeah.
I remember Hulu's East Los High gets canceled after the 4th season. And the other show that I was on was kind of just in this weird hiatus where they didn't really know what to do with it or the release date. Like, I don't know what was happening. But I went a whole year where I really thought I was shooting this show in Tel Aviv. Actually, we shot The Greenhouse in Tel Aviv in Israel. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So great.
Yeah.
Have you been?
No.
Oh, we should go. It's fantastic. You would love it. It's like Miami in the Middle East.
Wow.
It's really crazy. But, yeah, so I'm on this break for the show, and I really thought that after coming back from Tel Aviv that the doors were just going to open up for me, because we all go through that. We're like, oh my God, the doors are going to open for me, everything's going to be great. And I remember coming to Los Angeles, and one show gets canceled, the other show's on hold, and nothing was happening for me. Nothing. Like, no auditions, I was getting auditions, some of the things I wasn't able to do because of all the contract stuff. And the opportunities just weren't coming. And I remember just going through a really low time mentally. I think that was the first time in my life that I realized that I struggled with depression, and kind of put a name to like what anxiety was and what depression was. And that was the first year that I remember stepping into therapy for the first time. So yeah, it was a really low time. And as an artist, you can't help but define yourself
from your
work and your craft and your art, because it's what you love to do and what you work so hard to do. That when the universe isn't giving it to you, you kind of just like.
And I think also, like, psychologically, as women, we're like, we don't put our validation on men. We don't put our validation in men. So as we get older, we try to move our validation from men, but we don't realize that it kind of transfers into work and hyper independence. 100%. And that's such a thin line of take my validation from having it with a man, but also don't put it all in work where you're hyper independence, where you're just like, just putting it somewhere else. It's like, I'm placing this and not putting it here.
Of course.
The work isn't fixed.
Yeah, I totally relate to that as you're saying that, because I've totally been in relationships, I think, when I was younger, that I wasn't so established in my career. And it was like, that was my life. Like, I just thought I was this hopeless romantic. And then you get older and you get wiser, and life tosses you around a bit, and you really start to find some sort of identity in what you love to do, and that becomes who you are. So imagine when you don't have that, and you don't have, maybe I guess also around that time, this was like 2016, I didn't really know who I was. Right.
You're trying to discover yourself. You're having extreme highs but extreme lows. So what happens in that moment? You started therapy.
I did. It saved my life.
Love therapy.
We love therapy.
Love therapy.
Yeah.
And what was the first job that you booked after that hiatus, and how did you feel? What were you doing? Paint us a picture.
Let's see. That was a while ago. So I have to think. That was okay. So Greenhouse. Oh, whoa, yeah. Okay, crazy. Love this. So I actually went on a whole I don't know who I am journey. I need to
Eat, Pray, Love.
discover. You took the words right out of my mouth, Yanina. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. My dream was always to go to Thailand, so I backpacked through Thailand by myself for a month. And I really just went to go find myself. I really went on an eat, pray, love journey. I did it. Definitely ate a lot. But I really went and I just realized what was important to me. And as soon as I got back, I really believe in the magic of letting go. Mm-hmm. Like I wanted work so bad, and I wanted, this idea that I had in my mind, that I was holding on to it so much that I think that's why it wasn't happening. Mm-hmm. The minute I was like, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna go follow my dream, I'm gonna go to Thailand, I'm gonna connect with the earth, I'm gonna go volunteer at an elephant sanctuary, do things that have nothing to do with the business and are more for my soul, that's when I booked. So I came back and I actually booked my dream role. It was the lead in a pilot for David Ayer. Mm-hmm. Just fantastic director. I booked the lead in a pilot that he was doing for Stars. And unfortunately, they pulled the plug on the pilot. It didn't go. But throughout that, David and I really had like a great working relationship. And he offered me The Tax Collector, which was the film that we did with Bobby Soto and Shia LaBeouf. And it was such a wild ride of an experience as an artist, as a human. And I was just in the perfect place for it because I had just done all of this inner work. I mean, David literally, I think any actor that's ever worked with him knows that you have to go through like this emotional, psychological boot camp. We were in it for like 2.5 months before we started shooting. Mm-hmm. I was in the perfect place to receive that. Mm-hmm. So looking back, yeah, it was really tough. It was a really tough time, that year of not booking and kind of discovering myself. But what was beautiful, the rose, right, was that I really got to find myself, and I got to prepare myself for the project that catapulted me into so many different avenues as an artist, and just helped me not complete, because I feel like we're always on this journey of self-discovery, but it really helped me kind of round out this idea of
and continue to evolve
of who I was, and really set me on the path where I'm on now, which feels really good.
Do you, being like a Latina and looking the way you do, having like a look, does that ever come in conflict with roles you've wanted to go for or you've auditioned for?
I kind of try to go out for everything. I'm really big on telling my team that, I'd rather be looked at as interesting rather than the stereotypical sexy that we get. Yeah. I'm sure, you're beautiful and Latina as well, so I know you relate to this. I go out for everything. I'm a chameleon. I like to hide behind different characters and find different parts of myself in the characters that I play. I think that's what's the most fun. Have I gotten this really weird comments from casting of like, she's too sophisticated? Like, I remember when I started acting, I had a showrunner tell me like, oh, you'll never really play the immigrant Latina. Like, you'll always play the sophisticated Latina. And I was so taken back by that because I am an immigrant.
Yeah.
Spanish is my first language, and I'm a very proud immigrant. My parents worked really hard to bring me to this country. So the fact that your idea of who I'm supposed to be is so wrong, is so off.
Right.
But I think that's the goal now, right? With the roles that I'm playing now as an adult, now that I have a little bit more control of how I'm seen, it's just changing the narrative.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot. Like, whether your idea of a Latina is a woman named Maria with brown dark hair,
of course,
or the pageant winner has to be Miss Venezuela. Okay, like it's the narrative that so many other people in society put on you, that whether you're on this side of the table or on this side, they're still being affected.
Oh yeah.
And I think that a lot of the times, like even with acting, they have a role that they want you to fit, but they can only imagine that a certain person can fit that, rather than, like you said, a chameleon can be that.
Yeah.
But we're so many different people. We're constantly feeling emotions. We're constantly going through things. And if we're supposed to evolve as people, then why can't we evolve into a character? Or at least give us a chance to show you.
Yeah. We've definitely, listen, we've got such a long way to go.
Yeah.
We've got such a long way to go. But we are in a place where I have hope.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the career that I've had. I can only speak about myself.
Yeah.
Where I've been, like when I first started acting 10, 11, 12 years ago now, it wasn't cool to be Latino. It wasn't. And now everybody wants to be Latino, so it's different. But I think the roles that I'm still reading, the scripts that I come across, there is always that stereotypical, oh, of course, they're writing in a Latino for this. Of course they are. They don't know. But I've always, I do praise myself. I think that's really important to compliment yourself and to honor yourself. Like, something that I'm really proud of with myself is that I've always kind of taken my characters into my own hands and been very much of a voice to try to change how these Latino characters are written. I've done it my whole career. You know, I've said this before on other interviews, but when I was on Greenhouse, my first series, it was huge for me. It was originally written as Sophie Whitman, and she was supposed to be Italian or just, didn't really have a specific ethnicity. And I remember my first meeting at Netflix, I was like, hey, I'm Latina, I'm Colombian, I'm Venezuelan, and I speak Spanish, and I know that this show is gonna be, broadcasted in 140 countries, and I know that there's little boys and girls that are gonna look at me and they're gonna identify themselves with me, so I would really like this character to be Latina, and that's why my character's name is Sophie Cardona. I got to pick the last name, so obviously Carmona, Cardona. But a lot of the writing, it's, our showrunners who are so great, and I'm so grateful to them, they just didn't know.
Yeah.
They didn't know, and it's really up to us to be brave enough to stand up and really change how we're being written. So when we have the power to.
Yeah. So with things like, obviously with the controversial thing that recently happened between an actress and a showrunner would be the Jenna Ortega situation.
Right.
Which the showrunner didn't supposedly want and didn't appreciate, right?
Right. That's
so
tough.
It's tough because she wanted it to be authentic to the story, but then the writers and the showrunners are like, no. So how do you deal with things like that? Like, let's say somebody is watching and they're trying to be an actress and they get an opportunity like you, where they get a series. How would you suggest for somebody to stand their ground in wanting to change a little bit of the character that they're presented, but not overstep? Is that the word?
No, yeah. It's not easy. It's especially I think once you've worked enough and you really are confident in yourself as an artist, and you really can request certain things and work as a collaborator, it's easier. It's definitely easier to say, hey, this is how I feel about this character, and this is important for me, and this needs to be in it. But say you're starting out and you don't want to step on anybody's, you're walking on eggshells on set, and you have all these superiors and directors and producers and showrunners, and it's not easy. I just always, my advice is to be true to yourself always, especially when we talk about representing yourself and your heritage and what's important to you. Just having the conversation is everything. At the end of the day, these creatives have a lot of the control, and they will go a certain way, and sometimes you do have to sit and respect that. But I think just having those conversations.
Yeah, don't be scared of the conversation.
Of course, and sitting in these rooms with these, with these execs and head honchos. stand your ground. But a big thing for me is like, know who you are, be proud of who you are, embrace the adversity, especially as a Latina, as a, you know, as a Latinx woman in the industry, right? Own it.
So you said that the pilot you did was your dream role.
It was.
But it got the plug.
It got the plug, yeah, unfortunately.
So,
I can't say if it's gone for good.
Right. So what is your 2023 dream goal?
2023. Role,
not goal.
Yeah. I think there's so many different kinds of roles that I want to play. There's so many different roles that I have under my belt that I'm like, I have to do that. It's like characters that I've created in my mind, or that I'm just like, I just have to do this eventually before I die. But that one, I think, is the one that I'd be the most excited to play. She's kind of like, it was kind of inspired by The Godfather, the pilot.
Okay.
I don't know how much I can say about it, but it was inspired by The Godfather. Family goes down, the daughter takes over the family business.
So like King Honcho.
Yeah. Just a woman in power that's young and really smart, and when you look at her, you definitely underestimate her.
What was that show that, was it Salma Hayek? Or
Was it Salma? Oh, you mean Queen of the South?
Queen of the South?
So it's basically, it's not Queen of the South. It's very different. Queen of the South is such a great show.
Yeah.
And I think if I had to describe a certain type of role that is the goal, I think definitely Alicia Braga in Queen of the South.
Okay.
I think she's just goals.
I think it'll come for you. I can see that.
Yeah, well, we're manifesting it.
Yes.
We're bringing it out. We're
1000%.
talking about it.
Now, aside acting,
Yeah.
a little birdie told me that you have a show coming out on LATV.
I do.
So tell me a little bit about it.
Well, I love LATV. I mean, I've done some of the most fun interviews of my career. I cried during one of my interviews on LATV.
Wow.
Fun fact. So LATV has a special place in my heart. But yes, I'm currently doing a show called Yumi and Joe. We just shot it a week ago. And it's basically it's actors on actors having real, honest conversations about anything from mental health to, you know, relationships, love, heartbreak, acting, what it's like to, you know, be on your first series, what the aftermath of that looks like. My friend John Mejia, who's our executive producer, he's also directing the series, he reached out to me and he was like, hey, like, I think you'd be great for this. And it's not like something I've ever done.
Yeah.
Because normally I just kind of stick to acting and I kind of like to hide behind these roles, and this felt like something that would be really personal because I'd have to be myself, and that can be kind of scary sometimes if you're not used to that. It's very vulnerable. Yeah. But he was like, listen, Cinthya, this is perfect for you. You love talking to people. And he's so right. I love getting to know people. I love chatting with other actors. I love, you know, just authentic, genuine conversations. And I decided I'm going through my year of yes in 2023. I don't know if you've read that book, Shonda Rhimes. I'm there right now. So kind of things that are coming at me that normally I'd be like, yeah, I don't know about that. This year I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I'm really excited, and we have such great guests on the show so far, and we do it while we make coffee.
Fun.
Yeah.
Are you making Colombian coffee?
So we have coffee. We're shooting it at the Farm Cup, and we have coffee from all different parts of the world.
Okay.
It's such a cute little coffee shop, but we're just making the coffee ourselves, drinking coffee. Are you a big coffee drinker?
I'm actually pretty sensitive to coffee.
Same.
I'm more of a matcha girl or like a tea.
Yeah, I'm a huge tea person.
Yeah, I love tea.
I love matcha because you don't have that crash. And I have anxiety too. So.
Yeah. Coffee is the worst for anxiety, so God bless you.
For anxiety. And then people are like, well, why don't you drink decaf? I'm like, what is the point?
Right.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm making, you know, little bits of coffee throughout the day and learning the experience, and it's actually turned out to be really meditative. And it's crazy because when I meet up with my friends, I'm like, let's go grab coffee, let's have tea, let's catch up. And it's that for with a camera on us for everyone to see, and it's been so much fun.
Good.
I'm having a really good time doing it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, now with your year of yes, with the things you've been going on with Yumi and Joe, what is success to you today? What does it mean to you?
Success for me is really knowing that I am safe, whole, and enough in my own body.
I love that.
Yeah, I feel like it's taken me a really long time to get there. Success for me was always money, was always the next job, was always chasing material things or not even material, chasing people, right? Love, validation, and you neglect yourself in the process. And I think what's really beautiful about knowing yourself and growing up and doing the work and healing is you've got all the tools, you've got everything you need
if you just look within.
If you just look within. And so I'm not going to say like that's where I am, I'm 100% there, but
you're aware of it.
But I'm aware, and what's made me what's made me the most happy and felt the most alive, which I used to get from my work, and I still very much do, but it's different now.
I think also being aware that that's where you can go to easily, and being aware of when you're going to it and being like, okay, kind of need to do a little bit of work because I notice I'm leaning over here.
Come back to yourself anytime. And I've learned that therapy has been so great. Like the work that I've gotten to do with the people that I've worked with, therapists, all of that, healers, therapists, everything, like
Reiki, sound bath, that, everything, crystals, God,
yoga, God, all of it. I'm self-help books, like I'm that girl.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
vitamins,
beautiful sunlight,
walking,
meditation,
move your body,
hot girl walks.
Yes.
Right, it's at the end of the day, it's all about these things that it's just come back to you. And for me, I grew up in a home that wasn't super normal. So I did have some trauma growing up, and that makes you feel like you're not safe. And so you walk through life feeling like you're not safe. It's this message that you put in your mind that's not real. And so now as an adult, at this day and age, like it feels really good to be able to be like, I'm tap work. Like I'm safe, I'm enough, I'm whole.
And you're
good.
Present.
And and I'm here. And it helps me be here.
Yes.
It helps me be better at everything I'm doing. So that really is, that's the real flex.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us. I had so much fun seeing you and catching up.
I know, let's do this again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for watching, and more than anything, being so vulnerable with us, because people are going to see this and are going to be able to relate. So if people don't know you, if they just caught you, or if they do know you, where can they find you?
Well, definitely. I'm not really big on social media, but I am on Instagram. So just come and chat with me, and I will be getting on TikTok soon. So but look me up on Instagram at Cinthya Carmona.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And if you want to follow us, make sure to follow us on social on LATV Latina, and also catch the latest episodes on LATV Plus app. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time. Bye.